Hey, so today I wanted to talk about how I got accepted to fashion photography course BA at London College of Fashion, which is under the University of the Arts London. And yeah, I'm just gonna show you my portfolio and kind of talk you through the process of the interviews and all the application. Um, So if you're applying for this course, you first need to upload your personal statement, uh, and then you need to upload your online portfolio. And you can only submit, I think, around 10 images. And based on that online portfolio, you might get an invitation for the personal interview. And this year, I think there was like around 500 students who applied, and they chose 100 people for the personal interview. And from these people, they chose around 60 people who started to study this course. And a few people dropped out, so now we are like around 50 people, I think. And yeah, I'm in second year now. Um, So I think I'm gonna show you my portfolio first. I don't really remember which pictures went to online submission and which pictures I printed for the personal interview. So these pictures which I'm gonna show you will be like a mixture of both. And I don't know, I don't think that any of these pictures are really conceptual, so there is nothing what I could say about them, but I'm just gonna flick through them, and if I have a comment on one of them, I'm just gonna tell you that. Um, okay. Um, yeah, so these are just like portraits of my friends slash models. I remember that at the interview they didn't really ask me to like describe these images, but Neil Drabble, who was a course leader at the time, he just asked me questions like, where did I take these images, who are the people, if they are models or just friends, and what was the occasion of the photo shoot and stuff like that. So yeah, so I couldn't really like talk about these, but I remember that this picture I included um, just to showcase that I can take the pictures in the kind of like a commercial style, because I thought that the other images are rather like test shoots for models than anything commercial. But yeah, I felt like this image could be like really successful on like an Instagram platform or anything like that. But yeah, you can see from these images that they are not really conceptual, or that they're not really similar to the pictures I am producing now. Yeah, I must say that most of the images I don't really use in my portfolio anymore. There might be like 2 images which I actually use and still include in my portfolio, but I would probably just include them in my commercial portfolio or in my portfolio showcasing the test shoots I've done, like the test shoots for model agencies. Um, yeah, so these 2 images I included in my portfolio because I wanted to showcase that I have experiences with taking pictures for a brand, and this was a brand called Pound. It was my very first like proper commercial photo shoot, and I just remember that I was taking a lot of other pictures, and I was like, one day I was like, fine, I think I'm like ready to take this further and like start working with brands. So I asked my friend Andrea, who is who is the owner of this brand, Pawn, which is it's an underwear brand. And I asked her if I can take some pictures for her, and she said yes, and she said that she can't offer me money, but that I can get a bra in the end, if the pictures turn out well. And I thought like, whoa, that's amazing, that's great. I even wasn't hoping for money because I knew that my portfolio doesn't have any pictures which I've taken for clients. So I agreed, and they were really happy with the pictures, and I was really happy with the bra. So I think that was a really good collaboration. I think this is the right way how to start, how to enter the industry. Just like approach a small brand and offer them a photo shoot, and maybe the brands. I think if they're nice. And if they're gonna use your pictures, they kind of should offer you some kind of compensation, if it's either product or if it's money, for exchange for the pictures. So I'm glad that I got something out of that as well. Then this image is also from a fashion shoot for a brand. The brand is called Donuts and Milk, and yeah, it was also, I think it was like the second photo shoot for a client, and I think it was actually useful because it's just a little bit different when you have more people who are like included in the photo shoot. Clients always have their own visions on stuff, and you have your own vision, so you kind of need to merge it. And yeah, I think it was a good lesson how to learn how to agree on stuff. And these two images, I just included them in my online portfolio, and I just wanted to showcase that I can edit and that I can retouch. Then I included this analog image, which is kind of quite close to pictures which I'm taking now, even though it's not conceptual, obviously, but I'm not saying that everything needs to be conceptual. But yeah, it's an analog image. So I felt that that would be suitable for my portfolio nowadays, probably. And yeah, these two images, I don't know if you know the photographer Jessica Kobaisi, but I was really following her at the time, and I can definitely see her style of photography in these images. Like the pose, also the editing seems like done in her way. And yeah, she's probably, I mean, at the time she runs a quite a big YouTube channel, and I was watching all these videos, how to edit like her, and how to like do all these stuff, and how to become a fashion photographer. And yeah, I mean, it definitely had an influence on me. Then for the online portfolio, I also included a GIF of my best friend Josephine, and it was just to showcase that I can also produce some kind of moving image and that I can shoot in the studio. And then I produced also a short video. It was like an experimental video, very short one. I used some experimental music, and I was doing like a very small animation, which was like a line. I had like a piece of clothes, and I was doing some kind of animation with the line moving around the clothes. And yeah, I couldn't find that video, but I remember that, and I just wanted to showcase that I can do animations, and I can be kind of experimental, which I'm not sure if I was at the time, but it works, so it's all okay. Yeah, but if I have to reflect on these images, it's totally something different that what I'm doing now. But I think the images really reflect my sort of inspiration at that time, because in Czechia we don't really have any like edgy niche fashion magazines. So all the inspiration I got was basically like the images which were published in like Elle or Harper's Bazaar or Marie Claire. We even didn't have Vogue at the time. We only launched Vogue Czechoslovakia in September 2018, I think. So my inspiration was very limited to where I was living. I had no idea where photographers like Jürgen Teller or Corinne Day or Helmut Newton. I did know a few photographers and I mentioned them at the interview because they asked me if I have any favorite photographers, like what's my inspiration. So I think at the time I wasn't really prepared for that, and I just naturally knew a few photographers like Lukáš Dvořák, who is Czech, and then I wonder if I knew Michal Pudelka at that time. I don't think I knew him at that time. Then I also mentioned some other like commercial photographers. And I think I also mentioned some photographers who I was working with as a model, because basically these were only the photographers I kind of like really remembered their names. So when someone asked me, oh, who are the photographers, I just like told them these names. And yeah, I don't think they even knew them. And I think they didn't ask me about fashion designers or anything like that, but I know they asked other people. So yeah, if you go to the interview, you should probably know something about fashion industry. You should probably know some magazines you follow or you like, because I didn't even know any fashion magazines, like niche fashion magazines. I didn't know what is Dazed and Confused. I didn't know. I think I knew ID, but I wouldn't be able to tell them like what's the content in ID. I didn't know any other niche fashion magazines, which I guess you should probably know if you're like applying for fashion photography course. But maybe not, because I got in and I guess I just had very different aesthetics, and I was just coming from a different surrounding, because niche fashion magazines or this kind of like edgy photography or analog photography, it's not a big thing in Czech. And yeah, you can definitely see that I was just kind of reproducing the photography or the inspiration I had around me at that time. And yeah, when I got to UAL, and I just remember our first lecture, and we had to write down like our favorite fashion photographers at the time. So like every student would write down 3 photographers they liked, and then we had like a huge list of names and we had to check them out. And suddenly I seen that everyone, like especially in our class where everyone is from somewhere else, people from Asia would be having totally different aesthetics and style and favorite photographers. European people would have different favorite photographers, and British people who are surrounded by these big names, or like the work of these big names, they included them, and I've never heard of them before. I suddenly got into totally different aesthetics and inspiration, and I also started to shoot analog, and my images just changed drastically. So that's also very interesting to see, how surrounding where you live influence you, or if you look for inspiration on internet all the time, you will probably get the inspiration what most of the people around you are getting, because they're also searching for their inspiration on the internet. But maybe if you have a look into books and magazines, which are quite, not many people do that they would be looking into books and magazines, then you might get different inspiration and that might influence your work. So I think that's a good thing to work with and to be aware of. I've talked with a few students who are studying at different campuses like Camberwell or LCC, and some of them they told me that they didn't get in onto our course because their photography just wasn't like enough fashion, that they were maybe doing more like artsy photography, which I don't know, I think it's quite controversial because if you get to UAL, you definitely won't be doing the kind of stuff as I showed you in my portfolio, because I just don't think that that's art or that's considered as art. I think it's rather commercial and that's not what you will be doing. And also, most of our tutors and lecturers, um, they usually publish in niche magazines or they just produce a different kind of work, and it makes me wonder why I got in with these like very commercial images or like very, not like edgy style at all. But yeah, I mean, who cares, because I got in and I'm happy. um, I forgot to say that at the personal interview I also showed them my like a journal or research journal or something like that. It was like just a small journal, size A5, and where I included my other work, and I also included some text, like kind of like my thoughts, and yeah, kind of like a research which I was doing at the time, which I think definitely helped me, because this is one thing which we do here in UAL, that we do produce like a research journal. And yeah, I guess they kind of expect you to come with something like that to your interview. But I'm not sure, but that's just like, because when I was applying, I really didn't have any idea like what should I bring with me and how to prepare, because I didn't go to any art high school or anything like that. And so I was just like searching on YouTube and internet what I should bring with me. And yeah, I've seen that a lot of fashion design students, they are bringing with them these kind of research journals, and I thought that I'm gonna just do the same. So I did, and yeah, probably helped. But yeah, I think that's all. I don't really remember if they asked me any other questions. It was a very short interview. I was the last one, which was also very stressful because I was waiting for like 5 hours there, super nervous. And yeah, I think they asked me like why I want to do fashion photography, and just like, kind of a nice interview, but it was really intimidating, because Neil, the course leader at the time, was kind of intimidating. And yeah, he was like very direct, and I mean, I like when people are direct, but yeah, I was just like, you know, I didn't know what to expect. And yeah, but yeah, I mean, it went well for me. And yeah, I think that's everything what I wanted to say. If you want to ask me anything, feel free to ask me or email me or comment. And you can follow my Instagram, you can have a look at my website, and you can subscribe, because I'll be uploading videos every week. So make sure you don't miss any.